Story begins with soft sunlight streaming through a bedroom window. A young man stirs awake, completely disoriented in a world that feels both familiar and wrong. From his window, he stares at the massive academy castle looming in the distance. It's then that the chilling realization hits him. He has truly entered the game he once played. 3 years ago, he possessed a character inside the world of heroic legend of Arhan. That world is soaked with dangerous events and swarming with powerful enemies. Giant monsters regularly rampage, leaving chaos and destruction across the land. Hordes of terrifying zombies rise, threatening to bring everything to an end. Everyone around him, including the kingdom of Corinlock, simply believes that the main character will handle all these problems. But right now, he is just a level 1 NPC named Corinlock. He walks through the busy town streets, his relaxed attitude masking the weight of his knowledge. Without hesitation, Corinlock decides to find the game's true protagonist, Park Sihu. He finds Sihu acting strangely near a stone bench, muttering odd words. The young man mentions modern items that should not exist in this fantasy realm. The player vows to prioritize his own efficiency and survival above all else. Corinlock reaches out, determined to build a connection with this unique individual. Park Sihu, it turns out, was also an ordinary person possessing a game character. He wields unique player privileges and incredible combat power that far exceeds normal limits. The protagonist easily slays a massive dragon with just his magic staff. The only problem? Sihu has never actually played this game before. Corinlock patiently teaches him how to properly distribute his intelligence stats. As a former pro player, Corinlock knows every hidden route and secret. Having such an expert guide gives Sihu an almost unfair advantage. Suddenly, a dangerous beast leaps from the shadows behind them. Sihu turns and looks at Corinlock with a serious, determined gaze. Together, they strike down the massive shadow beast with perfect coordination. Sihu glances back with a small smile, silently checking if his partner is alright. Corinlock carves through the shadow hounds with unmatched precision and speed. He relies entirely on his deep knowledge of the game to survive each encounter. Meanwhile, Sihu uses his unique player system to overwhelm their monstrous enemies. Corinlock descends from above, landing the final killing blow with brutal elegance. The duo rests atop a mountain of corpses as the sun fades into twilight. He shares a rare, high-class elixir with his trusted companion. Drinking deeply, Corinlock feels a pang of disappointment. They have no female teammates at all. Their entire party consists of men, despite the game's rich dating features. This fantasy world usually boasts diverse heroines and countless romance options. Many beautiful women should have been part of their grand adventure, yet Park Sihu avoided every single woman, keeping the party strictly male only. Corinlock laments being stuck in a group of gross, sweaty guys. He recalls the tragic death of the Sword Emperor's beloved granddaughter. Even Mariette, the first stage boss, mysteriously vanished from her own bed. Soon, evidence of violent crimes and strange murders began appearing everywhere. Countless disappearances proved the world was spiraling into dark chaos. The story had completely strayed from the original game's intended path. Only then does Corinlock realize he should have questioned Sihu's true, hidden intentions. A sinister personality lurked beneath that friendly and heroic facade. He smiles back now, regretting that he never once doubted his friend. Corinlock is paralyzed with horror upon witnessing a terrifying, hidden secret. He followed Sihu at night and found a mysterious, illegal facility. There, the missing heroine's legendary staff is kept like a trophy. The protagonist realizes the massive haul is actually a player's hidden inventory. A rare odachi rests inside a display case, waiting as a forgotten piece. Jaeger's mace is kept alongside other legendary weapons in the cold vault. Lark's spellbook sits safely behind reinforced glass panels. Then a horrifying sight awaits. Chains hang above a glowing tank. The missing Mariette Dunilef is suspended within the crimson liquid. Her blood is being harvested while she remains trapped and unconscious. The protagonist turns around in shock as the room's owner arrives. A masked player demands to know why he has entered this forbidden place. He confronts her about Mariette's capture and the stolen items. The masked woman coldly dismisses Mariette as a mere demon creature. She claims she is only using an elder vampire's blood efficiently. A chilling realization hits as the masked woman reveals the truth. He remembers drinking a potion made from that harvested blood, recoils in absolute disgust upon learning what he actually consumed. The masked player describes the hard work required to capture her. Rage fills him as he listens to her heartless explanation. She insists this is the most efficient way to progress, mocks him for trying to save every annoying character, and declares herself the superior player in this dangerous game world. He realizes his companion has been lying from the very start. The masked woman looks on with cold, calculating blue eyes. She is only 3 kills away from reaching 100,000. He stares in horror at the monster hidden in human skin, grabs the heartless killer, who views everyone as simple NPCs. Corin screams that she is an evil monster who murdered for sport. The player grits her teeth at his accusations of cold efficiency. He demands to know why she stole a knight's hidden piece, exposes her horrific farm where a girl remains chained up. She looks at him with glowing eyes and a twisted smile. Corin delivers a powerful punch directly to her face. The impact sends her crashing across the hall in a flash. She stares back with a bloody face and a chilling expression. "You!" Ara questions why he would ever say such hurtful things. She declares that she should be his entire world and everything. Her dark obsession explodes as she refuses to hold back any longer. Corin is left utterly speechless by her insane and sudden confession. He stumbles back, terrified by her unexpected change in character. A menacing purple aura erupts from her small, fragile frame. She claims every atrocity was committed solely for their future together. Corin tries to fight back against her overwhelming and terrifying power. He flees in panic, desperate to escape her sociopathic tendencies. Purple, magical energy snakes across the floor toward his retreating form. A glowing tentacle snatches his ankle before he can get away. Multiple purple binds wrap around his body, pulling him backward. The magical restraints coil tightly around him like a suffocating snake. Corin yells in agony as the binds drag him into darkness. "You!" Ada stands over him, vowing to trap him here forever. Her shadowy figure looms over her captured and terrified prize. He is completely imprisoned in her fake world by digital chains. Terrified player screams as his digital world begins to crumble around him. A mysterious figure stands ready with a glowing purple magic circle. He promises an eternal bond once this final fight is over. Dark ocean waves crash violently as the system announces the last stage. The protagonist drifts helplessly in the freezing, dark coastal waters. He wonders what fate awaits him after the final boss falls. A crimson system warning declares the player has failed and died. His body sinks further into the abyss of the silent sea. White curtains flutter gently in the warm morning light of a room. He gasps for air as he wakes from the deadly nightmare. Sitting up abruptly, he realizes he is back in his own room. The towering spires of the academy shimmer under a clear blue sky. He has regressed back to the first day of his arrival. Staring at his palms, he feels the crushing weight of lost time. He clenches his fists with a new, burning sense of purpose. A cold determination settles in as he vows to kill his enemy. With a single tear, he swears to end that player's life. Memories of the devastating Rodion River flood haunt his mind. Thousands of innocent lives were lost beneath the crashing waves. Park Si-hoo laughed maniacally while witnessing that horrific mass tragedy. The protagonist watched in silent horror at his companion's cruelty. The monster only cared about monopolizing experience points from the dead. That devil planned to reach 100,000 kills without any remorse. He sprints forward, desperate to stop the villain's ascent right now. Park Si-hoo stands at the academy gates, completely unaware of his fate. Corin Lork sprints through the woods to prevent a future catastrophe. He spots the rare mushrooms required for his desperate plan. A determined hand plucks the fungi from the forest floor. The only chance to stop Park Si-hoo is happening at this very moment. A tutorial quest begins as a carriage breaks down in danger. The moon hangs high over the treacherous, monster-infested mountains. Leon and Laura successfully defeat a monster attacking their group. Park Si-hoo puts on a friendly act while thanking the guards. The driver announces that the carriage is finally ready to move. The weary guards prepare to depart and get some much-needed sleep. Suddenly, Laura senses an overwhelming presence lurking in the darkness. A massive, shadowy claw descends from above with lethal intent. Fear paralyzes the guards as the true monster finally reveals itself. A desperate warning rings out to dodge the incoming strike. The ground shatters as a powerful limb crashes into the earth. Leon and Laura draw their blades to defend the helpless passengers. A rank 2 werewolf emerges, its eyes glowing with predatory hunger. The beast lets out a deafening roar that shakes the entire forest. Corin watches from the bushes, cursing his lack of preparation time. With terrifying speed, the werewolf brutally slashes through Laura's defenses. Laura falls as blood spatters across the darkened forest path. Leon shouts for the others to flee while he buys them time. Park Si-hoo abandons the guards and runs toward the waiting carriage. A passenger watches in horror as the situation turns deadly. The monster looms over its next victim while Corin looks on. Corin watches carefully as the giant monster prepares its next move. He wonders if Park Si-hoo is actually a hero or just possessed. Si-hoo stands frozen under the massive shadow of the roaring beast. The young man stares up at the creature with glowing red eyes. The beast opens its jaws wide and lets out a terrifying roar. Suddenly, a girl leaps forward, shouting for everyone to get down. She plunges her blade deep into the monster's neck from above. The warrior is surprised when the beast suddenly stops its attack. She lands gracefully while Park Si-hoo watches the monster's body crumble. Alicia Arden tells him to step back while she handles the beast. She is an influential party member and a key named character. Alicia stands ready for battle with her powerful aura fully visible. Park Si-hoo secretly grips his dagger as it glows with purple energy. Alicia looks back with confidence before facing the monster once once more. Then Park Si-hoo betrays her by stabbing her directly in the back. Korin watches the dark scene unfold with a look of pure horror. He clenches his teeth in fury at the visible betrayal. Alicia stumbles forward, asking why she was betrayed by her ally. Her eyes widen as she feels the effects of the sudden wound. Park Si-hoo smiles coldly while claiming his hand simply slipped. The beast lets out another roar as its red eyes flash again. Alicia clutches her chest as the poison begins to take hold. She forces herself to block the monster's massive claws with her sword. Park Si-hoo is impressed that she survived his deadly poison attack. Alicia swings her blade desperately to keep the looming threat away. She tries to calm her racing heart and maintain her composure. She shuts her eyes tightly to focus on the battle ahead. Her eyes snap open, glowing with intense determination and power. She activates her perfect footwork skills to evade the monster's reach. The massive werewolf roars as it prepares a devastating downward strike. A mysterious boy watches, worried she might defeat the beast alone. He smirks, deciding he cannot allow her to claim the victory. He hurls a glowing purple dagger directly toward her exposed back. Sensing the danger, Alicia barely manages to deflect the surprise attack. She realizes the betrayal was deliberate and grits her teeth hard. The werewolf glares with glowing eyes, sensing its prey is distracted. Alicia swings her blade upward to counter the creature's next move. Her sword clashes violently against the beast's massive, sharp claws. A brutal impact causes blood to spray across the battlefield. The force of the blow sends Alicia flying backward through the air. Wounded and confused, she asks why he would ever betray her. The boy celebrates after successfully acquiring a powerful new odachi. He admires the weapon, ignoring its complex skill requirements for now, turns away from the scene with a cold, heartless gaze. He wonders if killing Alicia will yield more experience points, looms over the fallen warrior and the dying monster. Alicia closes her eyes, weeping as her strength finally fades away. His silhouette stands menacingly against the backdrop of the full moon. Suddenly, a hidden trap or pouch explodes right beside his head. He coughs and recoils as thick dust fills the entire area. His eyes widen as glowing particles drift through the dark air. Park Si-hoo panics, realizing his face is covered in strange orange powder. He screams into the darkness, demanding the hidden attacker show themselves. Violent horn rats suddenly emerge from the shadows to swarm him. Panic mushrooms are revealed to be irresistible bait for forest monsters. Coated in powder, Park Si-hoo becomes delicious prey for every nearby beast. He desperately swings his sword to keep the charging monsters at bay. Nearby, the protagonist finds the girl and confirms she is still breathing. A massive horned beast looms over him, ready to strike from behind. He reacts instantly, jamming his dagger into the creature's gaping maw. His expression remains cold and focused despite the sudden monster attack. Park Si-hoo appears, demanding to know the identity of the mysterious stranger. The protagonist notes that 3 horn rats were slain in just 1 minute. Park Si-hoo stares in disbelief at the person standing before him. He realizes his opponent has no memory of their previous encounter. Park Si-hoo charges forward, questioning how his rival is even here. The protagonist smiles, mocking Park Si-hoo's amateurish way of holding a sword. Stunned by the critique, Park Si-hoo falters for a brief, vulnerable moment. The protagonist seizes the opening, launching a blindingly fast upward strike. The sharp blade grazes Park Si-hoo's cheek, drawing a spray of blood. He clutches his face, cursing the bastard who managed to wound him. Park Si-hoo attacks wildly, but the protagonist easily evades the clumsy strike. Knowing Si-hoo is physically stronger, the protagonist prepares to push his limits. A powerful counterblow knocks Park Si-hoo back, breaking his momentum completely. The protagonist warns him to stay alert before the killing blow lands. Korin tells his target to focus purely on the coming blade. He maintains intense focus until everything else fades from view. Park Si-hoo cowers in terror as the killing blow descends. The cold steel of the dagger glints dangerously near his eye. Korin raises his arm high to deliver the final judgment. He plunges the blade downward with overwhelming power and speed. Park Si-hoo screams in agony as the first strike connects. Tears well in his eyes as he faces his inevitable end. Korin prepares to finish the job with one last brutal motion. A look of pure desperation fills the dying player's face. Blood erupts as the dagger finds its mark in his throat. Korin stares down his foe with cold, unwavering eyes. The life of the player is snuffed out in a dark silhouette. Korin mocks the player, thanking him for his past life sacrifice. Park Si-hoo lies motionless with a dagger buried in his chest. Exhaustion takes hold as Korin stands over the fallen monster. The system declares Park Si-hoo dead and initiates a backup protocol. Korin is identified as a new variable within the game world. Stats and experience transfer to Korin as the new sub-player. A status window appears, naming him the Martial Master's successor. A sudden sound from the shadows makes Korin turn around quickly. He discovers Alicia Arden wounded and gasping for breath nearby. Korin cradles the suffering girl as she admits she cannot see. He meticulously lists her symptoms to confirm his grim suspicions. Korin identifies the venom as poison from a peacock tree frog. Alicia would have died instantly if the poison's level level was any higher. Korin needs to stop the bleeding and begin the detoxification process immediately. He reassures Alicia that he is an expert at stopping lethal bleeding. He worries that Alicia might accidentally bite her tongue from the pain. Korin prepares his own arm for her to bite down on safely. His gaze remains intense and focused on the task of saving her. Alicia bites his arm as he begins the painful medical procedure. Korin removes his shirt and encourages her to endure the coming pain. He reflects on returning to the past and killing the original player. Korin successfully prevents Alicia's death, changing her tragic fate this time. They remain alone in the deep, dark forest after the intense struggle. Korin feels a sense of accomplishment after successfully saving Alicia's life. A small pot boils over a campfire to prepare a vital antidote. He tells her to hang in there while the antidote finishes brewing. Alicia gazes at her rescuer and weakly calls him her savior. She asks for his name while he prepares a cold compress. Korin refuses to reveal his identity while tending to her fever. He instructs her to rest until the medicine is finally ready. Korin analyzes the original game's plot to plan his next moves. The original story centered on a hero rescuing the entire world. That hero was destined to defeat powerful villains and the final boss. Park Si-hoo only followed the story to prevent the world's end. Now that the main player is dead, the hero's role is vacant. Korin realizes he must now take on that heavy responsibility. He vows to fulfill his new role properly, despite the difficult circumstances. Access denied. System messages flash before his eyes. Crucial player features like the inventory and combination windows remain locked. He realizes his sub-player status grants no access to convenient tools. Relying solely on future memories is not enough to survive. After 3 years of brutal training, he has surpassed normal possessors. Activates a magic circle over the flickering campfire. His intensive efforts finally yield results in the dark wilderness. Survival was his only motivation during the grueling years of isolation. He turns to ancient runes, powerful letters containing their own magic. These runes are known as the sacred 3 commandments of this world. These powerful laws provide superhuman strength at a terrible cost. With a determined look, he prepares to inscribe them onto himself. Uses his own blood to begin the painful carving process. The rune for duty burns brightly upon his muscular arm. This commandment grants extra power when honoring a self-imposed oath. Noble sacrifices earn more stats than simple, easy tasks. He accepts a heavy burden to gain the strength he needs. His new duty prevents him from ignoring misfortunes of good people. Successfully helping others will now cause his status to rise. Failing his oath will result in a severe penalty to his heart. Next, he prepares to inscribe the marking of restraint. Smoke rises as the second rune sears into his skin. This restraint permanently prevents him from perceiving any spirits. In this world, every object possesses its own unique spiritual essence. Astral beings and ghosts wander everywhere, now invisible to his eyes. Astral beings cannot touch those without spiritual awareness or recognition. Disobeying the sacred bind incurs a massive damage penalty. A new restraint activates, nullifying damage from all astral beings. This severe penalty transforms into a divine shield against spirits. Binding commandments carry great risk through the weight of oaths. Neither Park Si-hoo nor he dared use this power before. Despite his mastery over the system, Park Si-hoo ultimately failed. He swears the weightiest oath to finally save this world. The 3 commandments are now etched within his very soul. These binding rules apply directly to the sub-player's current status. Failing to uphold these sacred oaths will result in certain death. He embraces the agonizing weight of chains to change his fate. Elsewhere, a young woman slowly begins to open her blue eyes. She finds herself resting comfortably within a clean hospital bed. The girl sits up abruptly, groaning from her lingering injuries. A nurse explains she is in Merkaba City Emergency Hospital. She learns her mysterious savior departed right before she woke up. The confused girl frantically searches the room for her personal belongings. A worn brown bag rests nearby, containing a bloodied leather strap. She realizes with shock that the strap belonged to her savior. Determination fills her gaze as she loudly summons the nurse back. The startled nurse returns, unsure why the patient is so agitated. Instead of resting, she demands information about rare honeybond candy. 3 days later, Merkaba Academy holds its grand entrance ceremony. He checks his wallet for his identification before entering the school. Korin discovers a surprise letter from his mother tucked inside his pocket. He reads her heartfelt message about being a proud and protective man. The young man realizes his mother secretly added this letter for him. He recalls how his new family accepted him despite his initial awkwardness. This genuine kindness made Korin truly love his family and this world. He vows to protect them. Unlike the selfish intentions of Park Si-hoo, numerous streetcars wait at the busy station of the Merkaba Academy. A crowd of nervous new students gathers around the bustling transport hub. A cheerful blue-haired girl waves and greets the arriving group of cadets. Korin introduces himself after she comments on his impressive height. The friendly girl offers Korin a potato from her large woven basket. The red streetcar speeds forward as they travel toward the academy buildings. Mariette Dunalev points toward the creation building where magic students gather. She is a talented second-year mage beloved by everyone at the school. Korin knows that Mariette is destined to face overwhelming future tragedies. In the original story, this kind girl becomes the first act's boss. The students receive potatoes and sweet potatoes before they finally disembark. Mariette waves goodbye cheerfully as the streetcar continues on its way. Korin enters a grand hall where the space expansion magic begins. A massive, glowing magic circle appears on the ceiling above the crowd. Most cadets panic as the floor drops into a dark, magical void. Korin remains perfectly calm while others fall around him in confusion. He recognizes this boot camp-style welcome ceremony from the game. The academy trains superhumans to defend humanity against the evil tribe. Professor Fermak Daman introduces himself to lead the new student ceremony. Korin recognizes the professor as someone he has met before. Professor Damon challenges the students to demonstrate their true abilities. Holographic status windows suddenly appear behind every student in the hall. Korin checks his screen and sees he is a 6th-ranked student. He sighs at his appalling physical stats shown on the display. Damon orders the students to stand by their corresponding rank signs. Korin walks toward the 6th-rank sign with the other students. The professor smiles sinisterly and wishes the students luck in battle. Students begin gathering in groups according to their assigned rank numbers. The instructors identify several exceptional talents among this year's new recruits. A female professor suggests delaying the assessment of the top ranks. The evaluation focus shifts toward the students ranked as 2nd rank. Alicia Arden is introduced as the granddaughter of a sword genius. The druid Yule from Avaloan is recognized for her natural magic. Drone Worski is identified as a mercenary skilled in sword control. Cornell Luden is showcased as a talented young golem sorcerer. The holographic display reveals the number 1 for the final candidate. A mysterious woman is revealed to be the only 1st-ranked student. That student is Huaran, a powerful being known as Heavenly Yaksha. Professors worry about the director's choice to enroll the dangerous Huaran. An elderly professor dismisses the 6th-ranked students as completely incompetent. The female professor warns him to respect the director's educational philosophy. The examiner signals for the official entrance exam to finally begin. Korin finds himself in a room containing a single weapon case. He prepares to fight a swarm of monsters in this test. Korin searches the lockers for the perfect weapon to start his test. He remembers failing the rank test in his previous life. 3 digital shorthounds materialize to begin the first combat wave. These 5th-ranked monsters are ready to tear their target apart. Korin admits swords are cool, but he chooses a spear this time. His eyes sharpen as he focuses on the approaching pack. He lunges forward with incredible speed to strike the monsters. A massive explosion of red energy obliterates his digital enemies. The hounds stand no chance against his overwhelming power. Korin celebrates his quick victory with a pose toward the sky. 2 more hounds leap from the shadows to continue the assault. The monsters roar in rage while trying to bite him. Korin stands calmly while the defeated hounds vanish into dust. A smirk crosses his face as he boasts of his experience. He cleared the entire wave in just 12 seconds. He wields his spear with grace, proving his incredible growth. Korin rests his weapon and demands the system send more. 5 minutes pass without any new monsters appearing in the arena. The young warrior wonders if he has broken the testing system. An instructor watches other students struggle against the weak hounds. He brags about his own past records while criticizing them. Then, the instructor suddenly notices something strange on Korin's monitor. Korin is seen yawning because the test is far too easy. He realizes the system is only spawning low-rank monsters. The instructor looks away from the other pathetic students in disgust. The smug instructor wonders why the lower ranks are struggling so much. He questions the performance of the 5th and 6th rank students. A crystal orb shows the boy effortlessly handling the difficult trial. Professors worry if the test magic is finally malfunctioning after years. They observe that the monsters are not even being summoned correctly. Korin growls in frustration as the same weak monsters keep appearing. He yells that this is not like training a common dog. A massive impact sends shockwaves throughout the entire training arena. The timer stops at an unbelievable 7.3 seconds. The instructors gape in absolute shock at the incredible completion time. They urgently call for Professor Fermak to witness the strange result. Fermak remains composed while examining the unbelievable record on screen. He notes that the top student usually takes much more time. The trembling instructor tries to claim the boy is just lucky. A fierce 4th-rank Matt Bohr is summoned to test him further. Korin obliterates the beast in a staggering 3.7 seconds. Next, a massive 3rd-rank owlbear emerges to face the boy. The giant monster unleashes a heavy strike with its powerful wings. Korin narrowly dodges the deadly attack with a swift, low maneuver. He readies his spear to counter the enormous beast's aggression. A glowing rune appears as he prepares the Kenaz fire spell. Intense flames erupt, consuming everything in a blinding, fiery inferno. The onlookers are stunned by the use of rare rune magic. Fermak watches closely, sensing the true potential within the young boy. Korin ignores the flames and prepares to end the fight quickly. He slams his spear down, concluding the monster test with force. The observer notes Korin is far more powerful than a 6th rank. Examiners eagerly prepare to watch Korin face the evil spirit test. A ghostly 5th rank spirit manifests as the second trial begins. Korin realizes he cannot perceive the summoned spirit at all. A restraint penalty penalty blocks his ability to sense or see souls. He decides to test his theory regarding the invisible spirit's presence. Korin stands motionless, counting seconds as the trial time runs out. A smirk appears as he confirms the penalty is successfully activated. Suddenly, Korin raises his hand and chooses to give up. The scoreboard reflects his choice to withdraw from every spirit test. Despite the withdrawal, his monster hunt times set new academy records. The staff remains confused by his abrupt decision to stop fighting. They wonder about the true nature of this mysterious young student. Korin walks calmly through the large crowd of newly tested students. Candidates discuss their rankings while Korin passes by them quietly. Jaeger Hinchpetter stands tall, radiating an aura of delinquent pride. Korin remembers Jaeger's role as a minor antagonist in the story. He recalls how Park Si-hoo killed Jaeger in the original timeline. Korin views Jaeger's arrogance as typical behavior for a young lunatic. Nearby students complain about failing to defeat the low-ranked ghosts. Lark struggles with an inferiority complex while slandering his talented peers. The ceremony begins as a microphone captures the speaker's first words. Director Ryu Kasar officially welcomes the new students to the academy. A red-eyed nun listens closely to the director's opening speech. The director finishes his speech by encouraging students to find themselves. With a kind smile, the speaker officially concludes the opening ceremony. Crowds of students begin to disperse throughout the academy's grand hall. A boisterous student named Jaeger proudly announces his third-rank status. Jaeger towers over the timid Lark to demand his current rank. The loud blonde laughs mockingly at Lark's lowly 5th-rank placement. Korin steps in with a friendly greeting to diffuse the tension. He surprises Jaeger by identifying the tactical purpose of his tattoos. Jaeger beams with pride while mentioning his mother is the artist. Korin maintains a friendly facade despite knowing the truth from before. He remembers a grieving mother searching for her missing son's body. Her tears reveal a parent's deep love for a fallen guardian. Jaeger eagerly shows off a tattoo depicting the Merkaba Academy chariot. The two warriors exchange names and formalize their new, sudden friendship. Korin turns his attention toward the startled and nervous young Lark. A female student observes the interaction with interest from a distance. She finds Korin amazing for naturally saving his bullied academy colleague. Korin walks away, leaving everyone with the impression he is good. Lark feels relieved and impressed by his new friend's kind nature. Korin secretly identifies Lark's unique and powerful memorize ability for later. A predatory grin crosses Korin's face as he plans his next move. The observing girl finds his sharp smile incredibly charming and pretty. Merkaba Academy provides many of its high-end facilities for free. Students are encouraged to utilize the state-of-the-art training rooms often. Korin begins fighting invisible spirit bodies to sharpen his combat skills. Students whisper as Korin pushes himself against the dangerous spirit bodies. A blue-haired senior observes the rumors surrounding the persistent first year. The invisible spirit lands a heavy strike directly on Korin's head. Korin gasps for air as an instructor suddenly appears behind him. The instructor asks why he is training with such advanced spirits. Korin states his desire to refine his spear techniques through hardship. He worries if he has inadvertently caused some sort of trouble. The instructor stares intensely into Korin's eyes with a serious expression. Unexpectedly, the man grants him 10 meal tickets for his spirit. He laughs loudly, telling the boy to visit once he succeeds. Korin feels a sense of relief that the interaction ended well. The blue-haired girl watches as Korin prepares to resume his session. Korin flips through the air, striking at his unseen training targets. A brilliant flash of blue spirit energy consumes the training area. The spirit's power slams into Korin's gut with incredible force. Korin is sent tumbling across the wooden floor from the impact. He lies flat on his back, panting from the brutal exertion. A towel suddenly drops onto his face to help him recover. The kind senior stands over him, offering words of gentle support. She pours a refreshing glass of water for the exhausted freshman. She tells him that he will surely get the hang of it. Korin wipes his brow, pondering his precarious situation at the academy. He realizes that failure is no longer an option for him now. He remembers his former ally, Park Si-hoo, and their shared advantages. Having killed Si-hoo, Korin must now carry the burden alone. Korin offers Mariette a drink while urging her to keep moving forward. After catching his breath, he vows to become the strongest. He begins pushing the limits of the secret abilities from his past life. With fluid precision, the Tiger Swing technique is unleashed. The motion flows seamlessly into a powerful block capture counterattack stance. Next comes the returning heaven spin to further sharpen his combat skills. A quiet thought lingers about his lack of natural magic power or aura. To survive among geniuses, relentless hard work becomes his only weapon. His spear pierces forward as the ominous serpent deep righteousness skill erupts. A massive impact echoes throughout the room during the brutal training. Suddenly, the weapon is hurled skyward with explosive force. Mariette watches closely, fearing he may be giving up. Perfect timing guides his hand as he reaches to reclaim the spear mid-flight. Only then does Mariette realize the throw was meant for the catch. Flames burst around his body the moment the weapon returns to his grip. He dives toward the ground, pouring immense power into the strike. A blinding blue explosion follows the final training move. Mariette stands in falling snow, completely mesmerized by the display. The fading light reflects in her eyes as he descends from the sky. Awe fills her gaze at the overwhelming skill she just witnessed. Korin stands triumphantly within the fading magical aura. Panic suddenly takes over as Mariette rushes to check on him. He lies on the floor, realizing the training went too far. Nearby, the spear rests shattered from the overwhelming force. The next day begins at the towering academy gates. A cheerful blue-haired senior welcomes new students for a tour. Korin Lork snacks while pondering his path to greater physical power. He decides not to rely on elixirs to grow stronger. Instead, powerful commandments will be used to strengthen his body. Lark, the model student, studies intently with a thick book in hand. A friendly smile appears as Korin approaches with an invitation. A whispered secret about grimoires leaves Lark completely stunned. Grimoires are revealed as skill books granting magical traits instantly. The vast Merkaba Academy library supposedly holds all human knowledge. In truth, it serves as the perfect hiding place for grimoires. Korin explains the concept of hiding a tree within a forest. He adds that specific conditions must be fulfilled to obtain a grimoire. Lark has stored many spells, yet mana level remains the priority. Strange titled books begin falling around the confused student. Korin discovers a book containing a riddle about the opposite sparrow. Lark begs him to stop playing, just as a revelation appears. A hidden stone door is revealed, leaving Lark in shock. Together, they step into the secret passage with Korin leading. The eerie hallway stretches on until he suddenly stops. Korin demands Lark fulfill his end of the promise. Lark assumes help is needed to repel evil spirits. Without warning, a powerful blow strikes the unsuspecting student. Korin stands over the fallen boy with a terrifying dark aura. He admits today's goal is to complete a secret special quest. Capturing spirits will grant the hidden peace he truly desires. The special evil spirit, Sabancia Duke, emerges as a truly formidable opponent. Korin quickly realizes this quest was designed to be impossible. He wonders how anyone could capture a special spirit instead of ordinary ones. Sabancia Duke prepares a devastating attack born 800 years ago. Korin stands calmly as the lethal energy passes straight through him. The Duke's ancient power fails to harm the unperceiving young man. A system restraint prevents him from perceiving nearby spirits. Because he cannot see them, the Duke's attacks hold no effect. Korin scratches his head, unable to even see his enemy. He apologizes to the silhouette for his complete lack of vision. An idea forms as he offers Lark's body as a vessel. Hidden factors in this world can transform humans into dangerous demi-humans. Long ago, Sabancia Duke became a vampire and killed his servant. He roared in agony while battling his bloodthirsty instincts. The Duke's massive castle stood silent during the tragic transformation. To protect his family, he evacuated them and sealed the gates. Powerful magic was used to lock his soul inside a golden grimoire. Now Lark screams as the Duke's spirit takes control. The possessed student lunges forward with overwhelming vampiric impulse. Korin recalls that Lark possesses the lowest physical strength stat. Possession allows the Duke to maximize Lark's hidden potential. Korin easily counters and slams the possessed boy to the ground. He pins Lark down to execute the perfect strategy. Defeating the possessed host will yield legendary high-grade items. These treasures were once used by Park Sihu in future events. Korin explains that his methods differ from Park Sihu's approach. He brings up the Duke's wife Luina and daughter Cecilia. The two begin discussing what happened after the sealing. Korin recounts the bittersweet fate of the Duke's family. As Korin, he understands the value of family deeply. Lark sheds a tear as peace settles through Korin's words. Korin laughs off the confrontation and tells him not to worry. Valuable treasures appear once the conversation ends. He successfully acquires the epic soul dust of Sabancia Duke. Two powerful grimoires filled with ancient spells reveal themselves. Korin uses one to learn the persistent warrior's regeneration ability. He wonders how much this healing skill will truly restore. Lark slowly awakens after the possession ends. Korin makes a silly face when Lark complains about his chin. Suddenly, the blue grimoire is handed to the shocked student. Korin reveals that Lark's character was the reason he was chosen. Lark feels overjoyed to receive a reward for his effort. A system message reminds Korin of his duty to kind people. The mission to help Sabancia Duke is completed at high difficulty. Korin is stunned to receive 80 points for his performance. He carries Lark away as the dungeon begins to glitch. Helping Lark earns 40 bonus stat points from the system. Assisting the Duke grants another 40 points for selfless actions. The scene shifts to the Academy's bustling stamina training room. A cheerful blue-haired girl offers hot potatoes to hungry students. Korin stretches as Mariette asks about his plans to catch spirits. A bright smile appears as she cheers for her junior. Jealous students begin grumbling about the attention he receives. Mariette observes closely as the atmosphere turns competitive. Soon, a gambling frenzy erupts with bets placed against his success. Korin grips his weapon, determined to test his improved stats. The ominous serpent technique launches forward with a powerful thrust. His spear cuts through the training hall at incredible speed. A massive burst of blue energy explodes from the strike. Spectators stare in shock at his success with a single blow. Even Korin stands stunned by the power he unleashed. Mariette points out his rapid improvement since since yesterday. He realizes her eyesight far surpasses that of a normal mage. A heavy bag of coins is handed to him as his share. The losing students collapse in despair after failed bets. Corin's eyes sparkle greedily at the sight of gold. Laughter follows as they enjoy the unexpected profits. Night falls over the academy beneath a bright full moon. Corin eats while reflecting on his past life struggles. He acknowledges his spear skills are improving faster than expected. Attempting rune magic reveals the limits of his low mana. Solving this mana problem becomes essential for true strength. Corin walks alone through the quiet moonlit halls. Thoughts drift to a powerful opponent already inside the academy. Suddenly, a familiar voice calls out and stops him. Hwaran, the untouchable heavenly yaksha, stares with intense eyes. This notorious balance breaker sits quietly beneath a tree reading. Corin realizes she is a dangerous bomb beyond his control. Without warning, she claims his soul has been fused with another. Hwaran bluntly states he is not the owner of his body. Corin reacts in shock as his secret is exposed instantly. Panic rises as he wonders how she discovered the truth. Her piercing gaze reveals sight beyond mortal reach. Fear grips his heart as consequences race through his mind. As a Genshi, she exists between life and death with unique vision. It would be stranger if her soul-seeing eyes missed his nature. She asks whether consuming the original soul caused agony. Corin avoids the question by shouting he doesn't know. He wonders if he and the original Corin are truly different. Memories and identities blur into a hollow void. Hwaran notes the original soul still remains within her body. She calls him a thief who stole another life. To lighten the mood, he mentions a green giant named Bruce. He explains that opposing personalities can coexist eventually. Beneath the starry sky, he questions how different souls survive. Corin smiles and declares that being born is no sin. His words leave the legendary Yaksha momentarily stunned. He adds that some believe being born itself is sinful. Corin empathizes with the deep agony of the powerful child. With a final farewell, he walks away into the quiet night. A mysterious figure watches silently from the shadows of the night. The sun rises over the academy as a new day begins. Corin heads early toward the southern grounds of the campus. Soon, he stands before the large and crowded mission board. These commissions are essential for leveling up and future progression. His true goal, however, is testing his own abilities. A girl beside him catches his attention as she stares intensely at the missions. Memories surface of Alicia Arden meeting a tragic end before. Alicia greets him with a nervous bow and flustered hello. He asks why a second-rank student works on the weekend. She shyly admits being in desperate need of money. Her wealthy family refuses to provide school funding. Corin realizes the system resembles a state scholarship. Strict parents deny her even basic living expenses. He suggests a patrol mission offering high profits. Corin declines her offer to work together and focuses elsewhere. Instead, he chooses a simple quest to find a lost cat named Butterfly. While searching the village, he politely waves to the locals. Soon, Corin dives into the sewers to rescue the cat from monsters. A little girl cries with joy as her pet returns safely. He laughs maniacally when his unique commandment ability activates. Corin notices thugs bullying someone inside an alley. With wild laughter, he leaps across rooftops holding a stolen ring. Suddenly, a far more important task resurfaces from his notes. A muscular old man in sunglasses watches with fierce focus. The man lists sauce ingredients but senses something missing. Desperation grows as he struggles to perfect chilled chicken sauce. A sudden voice interrupts his frantic thoughts. Corin Lork appears in the doorway suggesting starch syrup. He promises the addition will solve the dilemma. The boy dances away happily after saying farewell. Skeptical, the old man pours the syrup into the pan. The building shakes when the perfect taste is discovered. Corin reflects on the importance of Korean fried chicken. Shock hits when quest rewards appear for his interference. The protagonist rejoices at finding a master of fried chicken. From a nearby rooftop, Hwaran watches with disdain. Her piercing red eyes remain fixed on the laughing boy. A powerful woman in purple arrives to collect the nun. Hwaran turns toward the unexpected visitor. The woman with glasses demands obedience. Echoes of a past message linger in the silent air. A memory of a screaming man flashes through Hwaran's mind. She stands alone clutching a red book at sunset. The scene shifts to the academy's official hunting grounds. An instructor gathers first-year students for evaluation. A map reveals winding routes toward the target cabin. Students listen carefully while adjusting rank armbands. A greedy student smiles while imagining rewards. Corin realizes Hwaran is missing as someone calls his name. Alicia thanks Corin for helping her earn much-needed living expenses. He offers her a special candy originally meant for his younger sister. Madame Josephine orders the students to prepare for the hunting ground test. A massive magic circle erupts to transport everyone into the forest. Corin admires Madame Josephine's unrivaled mastery of complex space magic. The teleportation spell drops him at a random point in the woods. Almost immediately, he witnesses students clashing as the test begins. This battle royale demands points earned by stealing armbands. Corin ignores nearby fights to pursue a more important target. Second-ranked Alicia is identified as the most dangerous opponent left. With Warren gone, he plans to eliminate Alicia for easy points. Corin reveals he hid a tracking rune inside her candy. A dark, predatory smile spreads across his face. He sprints through the forest, laughing while shouting Alicia's name. Madame Josephine informs the chairman she will enter the forest personally. She suddenly realizes Huaran has vanished from sight. The chairman calmly explains the girl stepped out alone. A powerful presence races through the woods at incredible speed. Huaran silently pursues Corin's trail with fierce determination. Her eyes glow red after a sudden change of heart. Nearby students struggle as they try to corner Alicia. She complains that being attacked by several students is unfair. Moments later, she stands victorious over the defeated group. A fallen student groans that her monstrous abilities are the real unfairness. Alicia effortlessly dodges attacks as peers call her a monster. Corin suddenly appears and knocks out a student with one strike. Alicia watches in shock as he emerges cloaked in a dark aura. The young girl blushes when he suddenly calls her pretty. He clarifies that only her blue armband is beautiful to him. Alicia cries out, feeling betrayed after receiving candy earlier. Corin laughs like a villain while demanding the armband. Despite her lineage, Alicia realizes she is outmatched. She barely blocks a heavy strike that lights the forest. The menacing boy displays power beyond all logic. Pressure overwhelms Alicia as he controls the flow of battle. She desperately searches for a gap between relentless spear strikes. Sparks erupt as weapons clash in a deadly dance. Corin smiles, noticing her reliance on special eyes. His mastery deflects every one of her attacks. He suppresses her sword, leaving her briefly defenseless. A cold, calculating gaze signals his next move. Alicia gasps as a lightning-fast thrust targets her. Corin links basic movements into a flawless attack chain. Each rotation of the spear builds unstoppable momentum. His eyes glow red while preparing an extreme counter. A massive burst of spear intent sends her flying backward. He executes the 6 steps technique with overwhelming skill. The young knight is thrown across the clearing. Alicia pants heavily, realizing aura was her only shield. She wonders how a mere student gained such terrifying mastery. The black-haired man looms over his defeated opponent with a wicked grin. He confidently claims the blue armband as the woman watches in despair. Suddenly, a massive impact shakes the forest and catches him off guard. A strange noise draws his gaze toward the source of danger. He barely blocks a crushing strike from an enormous magic blade. Realization hits that the heavy sword was built to slay giant bosses. Drone Worski looks down while wielding a colossal iron sword. The legendary knight demands the stolen armband be surrendered. Recognizing the threat, the man grits his teeth in frustration. Dozens of enemies and monsters lie dead in the knight's wake. Drone stands untouched and calm among the fallen foes. Choosing retreat, the man stuffs the blue armband into his mouth. He turns and sprints away, choosing survival over confrontation. Drone watches the sudden retreat with pure confusion. The knight notices the item hidden inside the man's mouth. His eyes flare with intensity at the sight of the armband. The man curses the knight's greed as explosions erupt behind him. Alicia follows closely, screaming about dying in the woods. He focuses entirely on reaching the cabin to secure his prize. Arrival brings the uneasy sense of another obstacle ahead. A giant mechanical golem blocks the small cabin entrance. Cranel Luden, a golem sorcerer, demands the armband for passage. Alicia panics as the exit appears completely sealed. Cranel waits patiently while his golem towers over the path. Drone Worski continues relentless pursuit from the opposite side. Corin realizes battle is now unavoidable. He readies his spear to face Cranel and Drone together. Avoiding the inevitable is no longer possible. He stands firm, ready to confront both opponents head-on. The sun begins to set as the intense training match ends. Corin reaches the finish line first and knocks on the door. He cheerfully asks if he may choose his prize. A man praises him for collecting 3 blue armbands. Corin humbly credits luck while standing over rivals. The observing girl stands stunned by the display of skill. He neutralized the magic sword's core before activation. With minimal movement, incoming strikes were effortlessly dodged. He cleverly used Drone as a shield against the golems. Corin shattered their power crystals while Drone was distracted. After dismantling the automatons, he handled the last opponent. His aura radiates the presence of a seasoned warrior. The witness compares his spear work to her sister's mastery. Corin criticizes their lack of practice and reliance on talent. His words leave a lasting impression on the girl. She resolves to train harder to reach his level. Drone wonders about the true identity of this student. Cranel lies exhausted on the ground after defeat. Corin suggests the sorcerer should have brought a friend. The lonely pilot admits he has no friends. Cranel breaks down in tears over his loneliness. 3 named first years each remembered Corin Locke in their own unique way. Corin whistles cheerfully, completely unaware of the heavy tension beginning to spread nearby. Meanwhile, the druid Yule calls upon the ancient protection of the forest itself. She carefully channels her magical energy to defend herself during the intense training session. Above the training grounds, massive spheres of water dominate the entire sky. At the center of it all, the Academy's strongest mage prepares to reveal her true power. Mariette Dunalef smiles calmly as she manipulates the surrounding water with ease. Suddenly, a colossal explosion of magical energy tears through the woods. Yule immediately breaks into hiccups after being drenched by the overwhelming attacks. As the training finally ends, Mariette kindly greets the trembling young druid. However, her gaze quickly sharpens after sensing a sudden dark presence nearby. A mysterious nun, dressed in black robes, quietly steps into the training grounds. Beneath the shadow of her hood, glowing red eyes pierce through the darkness. Ignoring the defeated students around her, the nun focuses solely on her target. Without hesitation, she rushes past Mariette with terrifying speed that blinds the eye. Instantly, a massive pillar of ice erupts between the two challengers. Mariette casually jokes that she will play the role of a monster for today. In response, the nun slowly looks back with an irritated and icy expression. Elsewhere, Corin arrives at the shop after earning more than 100 points. Several rare item cards are soon laid out before him for selection. He quickly recognizes the Shark Bear's Bile as the most valuable item available. Even so, Corin chooses to purchase the Mandrake Seed for his own plans. The shopkeeper then asks what he wants to buy with the remaining points. With obvious excitement, he selects plant supplements along with a pair of earmuffs. Corin leaves the shop feeling completely satisfied with his efficient shopping trip. Nearby, a joyful student proudly celebrates earning 19 points and securing second place. The blonde student then invites his friends to join a late-night training session. Corin asks everyone to help search through the rubble for a golem core. He stubbornly insists on helping Crenelle recover the precious magical item. In his previous life, Corin had relied heavily on Crenelle's brilliant tactical abilities. Soon after, Crenelle rejoices while holding the restored red golem core in his hands. Elsewhere, Alicia Arden appears exhausted and badly injured after a brutal encounter. Beside her, Drone Morsky sits defeated, completely drained of all remaining strength. Not far away, Druid Yule collapses while pointing toward the mysterious culprit nearby. Corin quickly supports Yule as she warns him about Mariette's overwhelming power. Without wasting time, he carries the wounded druid away from the chaotic battlefield. Panic rapidly spreads as wild animals begin fleeing from a terrifying hidden threat. Suddenly, someone desperately screams for Mariette to run as the danger intensifies. Mariette Dunalef was known as a genius who inherited extraordinary talent. To her, this hunting ground was supposed to be nothing more than a simple playground. But now, Mariette gasps for air while struggling to analyze her unexpected opponent. At that moment, a dark figure wearing a habit lunges down toward her from above. In desperation, Mariette quickly summons a magical barrier to protect herself, yet the red-eyed attacker effortlessly shatters through the defensive ice magic. Mariette instantly realizes that elementary spells are useless against such a relentless foe. Left with no other choice, she breaks her promise and unleashes advanced magic to survive. Despite all her efforts, Mariette is eventually forced to reveal her full power. Even then, the mysterious nun descends from the sky and delivers a crushing blow. A violent explosion of dust erupts the moment the attack strikes its target. In the end, Mariette sits broken and defeated against the remains of a shattered tree trunk. Mariette trembles in fear, desperately begging the approaching figure to stay away. Hwoarin continues marching forward like a living natural disaster wrapped in human form. A glowing hand slowly reaches out toward the freezing blue air around them. Mariette screams in terror while desperately trying to manifest protective ice. Suddenly, a commanding voice echoes through the battlefield and orders them to stop. Professor Josephine arrives at the perfect moment to restrain the dangerous young mage. Mariette weakly lifts her head, her strength completely drained from the brutal battle. The exhausted second-year ace finally collapses onto the cold dirt ground. Josephine watches the scene in silence, processing the unexpected outcome of the training. In the end, the practice session concludes with several shocking and unforeseen results. Corin proudly claims first place after earning the highest number of points. Meanwhile, Mariette recovers inside the infirmary following her clash with the first-year student. Corin quietly worries that Hwoarin may have already awakened as a boss. Even so, he prepares himself for the challenges ahead with 3 weeks still remaining. Soon after, Corin heads toward the outskirts of the forest to search for a specific being. Before starting, he pours plenty of eye drops into his eyes to fake sorrowful tears. The boy intentionally slips before tossing a seed directly into the pond. He immediately begins wailing as his mother's precious gift sinks beneath the water. A sinister grin slowly forms across his face once the target finally appears. At last, the legendary Taoist hermit rises from the water to greet him. An old fable had hidden this encounter as a once-per-game Easter egg. Back then, pro players tested the pond by dropping hundreds of random items into it. The hermit calmly asks whether the gold or silver seeds belong to him. Corin honestly points to the plain seed as the one he originally dropped. He rejoices dramatically while pretending to cry over the recovered item. Amused by his honesty, the spirit rewards him with both normal and silver seeds. As a final gift, she even grants him a golden mandrake seed. Korin happily bids farewell to the water spirit as she sinks back into the lake. The moment she disappears, he celebrates maniacally over his duplicated rewards. These legendary seeds are hidden treasures that possess incredibly unique effects. In his previous life, the valuable items had been split between 2 players. This time, however, Korin intends to keep all 3 seeds for himself. Soon, his attention shifts toward the looming mission involving the vampires. To recruit strong allies, he first needed to prove his power to the Academy's top rankers. Korin plans to form a proper party once his comrades fully recover. Hidden within the Academy's ancient walls rests the first final boss. Elsewhere, Mariette Dunalev sits alone as her transformation slowly approaches. A worried caretaker quietly watches over the girl inside her moonlit room. The woman begins questioning whether the young girl's magic was truly limited at all. Deep inside Mariette, a dark presence slowly begins to stir awake. Meanwhile, Korin remains determined to save Mariette from her approaching misfortune. His plan starts with training Alicia for the battle that is yet to come. He also needs to recruit Drone, the mercenary famous for his sword control skills. Convincing the forest druid to join the party becomes his next objective. Finally, Korin plans to recruit Crenel along with his powerful mechanical golems. If everything proceeds according to plan, success would become inevitable. Suddenly, Mariette's eye flashes with a horrifying crimson hunger. The woman instantly realizes, far too late, that the situation has become deadly. Mariette transforms completely before lunging forward with ravenous bloodlust. Somewhere far away, a hand casually slams a book shut out of pure boredom. Madame Josephine sighs, regretting sending the student on such a dangerous task. Korin considers jumping the wall while confined to her lonely room. Korin Locke suddenly appears upside down, startling the young nun. Hanging from a tree branch, he asks her to open the window. He presents a sweet cake to her as a peace offering. Korin realizes Madame Josephine has been missing for over 4 days. He notes that Huaran is a special demi-human with no visible scars. Distracted by his thoughts, Korin begins to slip from the tree. The young man shouts in surprise as he plummets toward the ground. A massive cloud of dust rises after his heavy impact below. Quickly recovering, Korin promises to buy Huaran a proper meal later. He sprints away, sensing that something abnormal is currently unfolding. Professors Dana and Fairmock search the outskirts for a missing student. Security Officer Kron rejects Korin's request to visit the sickbay. Karin offers a snack to Kron, claiming it is from Josephine. The guard happily accepts the meal, unaware of Korin's secret plan. Korin watches closely as Kron takes a large bite of the food. Suddenly, the guard's stomach glows blue with intense magical pain. Kron rushes toward the washroom, leaving the door completely unguarded. Korin slips inside, worried that the timeline has shifted a month. He grips the sheets tightly, praying that his dark suspicions are wrong. Upon entering the room, he finds a figure lying on the bed. Korin is shocked to find the missing Isabel in Mariette's place. He spots 2 puncture marks on her neck, revealing a grim truth. Mariette has awakened as the first final boss, a powerful vampire. Korin realizes this is happening 3 weeks earlier than expected. Phase 1 involves easily clearing the initial monster wave. In Phase 2, magic circles are used to hold her back. Significant damage must be dealt to gain the upper hand. Phase 3 features a battle within a rampaging blood realm. The final phase begins after the boss is knocked down. Reaching Phase 3 was usually not considered very difficult. Karin realizes he has accidentally incapacitated all the key players. Alicia is injured, and Drone's main weapon is completely destroyed. Colonel Luden's Golem Core was also destroyed by Korin's actions. He panics because the first-year named characters are all wiped out. Mariette originally attacked her roommate and went on a rampage. In his past life, a team waited to intercept her. Korin's current interventions have turned the entire situation into chaos. Alicia is severely injured with bones broken in 8 places. Cranel is useless in battle without his functional Golem Core. Including Huaran makes the future of the situation too unpredictable. Korin heads to the stamina training room to find mercenaries. He offers 20 gold coins to recruit the mercenary Drone. High-purity soul dust is used as collateral for the commission. Droneworski finds the offer desirable and joins the party. Korin searches the library for records of the Ogham alphabet. He offers to teach Yuel her tribe's lost traditional language. Druid Yule accepts the deal and joins the new party. Korin continues recruiting students in the canteen for the coming fight. Jaeger and Lark eagerly agree to join Korin's recruitment plan. Korin notes they have finally met the bare minimum for a real team. The newly formed squad now braces itself to step into the deadly forest. His mind drifts back to rumors of Mariette hiding deep within those woods. He locks onto the Academy's only forest zone as her most likely refuge. The group arrives at the hunting ground beneath a heavy, dark night sky. Jaeger breaks the silence, asking how they'll ever find her in this vast wilderness. Yuel quietly wonders just how much Korin really knows about their target. She grips her staff, ready to begin a ritual to track down spirits. Her voice calls upon the local spirits to lead them straight to Mariette. A sudden, massive gathering of spirits, leaves the rest of the group stunned. Korin clenches his jaw in frustration because he cannot see them at all. The other team members stare in awe at the swirling spiritual energy around them. He glances around confusedly, trying to grasp what everyone else is seeing. Without warning, a massive monster lunges at him from the shadows. His blade reacts instantly, slicing the beast clean in half. More monsters emerge from the red darkness, quickly surrounding the entire team. Jaeger cracks a dark joke, asking if Mariette has transformed into a monster herself. Lark frantically flips open his book, ready to cast helpful defensive magic. Jaeger charges forward with wild excitement, calling this his combat warm-up. Korin warns him sharply not to let the flying beasts surround him. He begins shouting tactical orders, trying to keep the group steady. He directs Yule and Lark to stay close together for protection. Drone cuts down enemies efficiently, moving perfectly under Korin's expert leadership. Despite his low rank, Korin proves himself a natural and capable commander. The team starts questioning why ferocious monsters are suddenly attacking in coordinated packs. Lark notes their behavior is far more aggressive than what is considered usual. Korin insists Mariette would not recklessly control these creatures like this. The group stands amid blood and carnage, desperately searching for answers. He explains that even desperate monsters can flee when pushed into survival mode. Then, a terrifying presence emerges, freezing the allies in shock. Mariette walks forward, her eyes glowing red, her entire body exuding a murderous aura. Korin orders Yule and Lark to retreat to safety without hesitation. Their employer silently puts his trust in Korin's plan for the battle ahead. He prepares to charge forward and take the front line himself. A system message flashes, revealing the immense weight of Mariette's future influence. Korin's status rises significantly to meet the growing threat head-on. He grips his weapon tightly, thinking of the world's fragile and uncertain fate. The quest demands he stop Mariette in order to save everything. With high morale, the party prepares to follow Korin into combat. The first commandment warns never to ignore Mariette's deep and hidden misfortune. A new objective appears, urging them to rescue her from that dark and broken state. Even with her demonic appearance, tears of deep sorrow roll down her cheeks. The allies finally realize the suffering girl inside is still very much alive. Mariette summons a massive iron blade to strike down her enemies. Shocked expressions spread across every face, witnessing her overwhelming power. A gargantuan sword crashes down, fueled by an ominous blood orb. Lark identifies the orb as a dangerous familiar made of concentrated vampire blood. Korin reassures the group that the familiar has not yet fully stabilized. The commander stays completely calm, already planning their next move against her. Possessed girl unleashes a devastating red shockwave through the area. Yule kneels as she prepares to manifest her druidic powers. She places her hand upon the forest floor to commune with nature. Massive green vines erupt as her spirit protection skill activates. Red energy beams tear through the obstacles standing in her way. Yule braces herself against the overwhelming pressure of the magic. Jaeger shouts in panic as the structural integrity of the area fails. The strain of the hunting ground drains half of Yule's mana. Despite reaching her physical limits, Yule refuses to back down now. The commander vows to turn the tables with his secret plan. Exhausted and panting, Yule questions if his desperate gamble will work. A menacing figure gathers blood-red energy for a final lethal strike. The commander commands Lark to prepare his remaining beginner magic spells. He orders the group to retreat once Yule joins their side. Dangerous red light begins to glow within the fractured rock walls. Massive, jagged crystals of alchemy magic burst forth from the stone. The commander watches intently as the deadly adversary draws closer. A powerful freeze spell manifests as crystalline structures of deep red. Violent red explosions continue to batter the crumbling environment around them. Jaeger screams in terror as the cavern begins a total collapse. Yule chants an ancient prayer to the earth and the gods. Ancient runes appear as she prepares to cast a legendary spell. Nature itself begins to respond to the call of the druid. Only a pure-blooded druid like Yule can activate this ancient text. Enormous roots surge forward to complete her transformation into a sage. Jaeger and his companions stare in disbelief at the rising power. The gargantuan Wicker Man emerges, dwarfing the entire group of fighters. Yule is stunned, while Korin admits to helping her summon it. Korin commands Jaeger to throw the surviving owlbear into the golem. A confident Korin reveals he prepared this sacrifice for the Wicker Man. Jaeger hurls the beast toward the golem's glowing, hollow chest cavity. The sacrificial owlbear falls directly into the internal burning furnace. Bright orange flames ignite as the living sacrifice is consumed within. The Wicker Man becomes a magic weapon, powered by the intense fire. Glowing green symbols activate on the golem's dark, wooden mask. The massive wooden arms sweeps through the forest with explosive force. Yule strains against the immense pressure of maintaining the summon. Korin warns Yule that stopping now would lead to certain death. The golem stands tall against the threat of Mariette Dunalev. Mariette releases a terrifying scream while unleashing waves of dark energy. Red beams of energy strike the golem's surface with great intensity. Korin explains that the golem is a structure, not a living being. A jagged red spear drops from the sky with lethal speed. The powerful spear impales the Wicker Man, causing a massive explosion. Korin watches in horror as the golem's light suddenly turns off. The towering wooden summon crumbles into a heap of smoke and ruins. Korin feels his understanding of the world collapsing in this moment. Mariette Dunalev stands empowered by a special-level difficulty surge. A trembling Yule cowers as Korin orders her to stay back. Korin bluntly tells her that her presence will not change anything. Korin charges ahead, while his shocked allies begin questioning their own usefulness. He realizes Mariette has already exhausted her wide-range magical attacks. With a maniacal grin, Korin declares that it is finally time to end this. The group struggles to keep up with his sudden, aggressive pace. Mariette retaliates by summoning a barrage of lethal crimson spears. The warriors swiftly dodge the relentless rain of blood-red projectiles. One teammate quickly steps forward to deflect the incoming magical energy. A powerful blast crashes against the shimmering surface of their protective shield. Mariette grows visibly frustrated by the party's unexpected endurance and strength. Jaeger leaps high into the air to unleash a devastating strike. The ground shatters as Jaeger's massive blow pierces through the enemy barrier. Korin explains that Jaeger's special ability grows stronger with every hit. Jaeger proudly gloats over his success while a teammate warns him of danger. Suddenly, a terrifying alert signals the beginning of Phase 3. Mariette invokes the Realm of Blood, engulfing everything around her in crimson red. A swirling crimson eye slowly opens, radiating a dense and sinister aura. The Nightmare Realm is littered with the remains of fallen weapons. Korin watches as the trap drags his companions into the air. He immediately realizes they are trapped inside a deadly spatial prison. A massive blood wolf rises, fueled by Mariette's stolen life force. Korin smirks, noting he usually clears this phase with a proper team. He readies his weapon, certain the outcome will remain unchanged. Above them, the crimson moon glows ominously across the silent darkness. The Academy's grand structure looms beneath the weight of the night. Suddenly, a strange and unnatural flow of air fills the room. A cold chill crawls up her spine as a burning thirst consumes her. Her slit pupils glow with an uncontrollable crimson hunger. A terrified girl cries out just before the predator reaches her neck. Sharp fangs sink deep into the victim's flesh without hesitation. Blood flows as the panicked student trembles beneath the deadly bite. Like a butcher slaughtering livestock, she drains the life from her friend. Painful moans echo through the room as the feeding continues relentlessly. The vampire sits amidst the carnage, her clothes soaked in fresh blood. Isabel's moans finally fade as the bed stops creaking rhythmically. Her heart pounds wildly while the scent of blood overwhelms her senses. Reality shatters once she realizes she attacked a human, not livestock. Under the pale moonlight, she mourns nearly killing her own friend. A single tear falls from her eye as her sanity slowly returns. Overwhelmed by guilt and hunger, the girl flees into the darkness. She runs deep into the forest to escape her horrifying crime. Elsewhere, a boy stands ready with his spear glowing in blue light. A massive red beast towers over him with a terrifying roar. The monstrous hound prepares to strike with its jagged, bloody fangs. Lethal red projectiles surround the warrior as he prepares his counterattack. He activates the fourth step of his deadly six-step technique. With a spinning strike, he mocks the beast's attempt to kill him. The boy's power collides against the creature's massive glowing limb. Light erupts from the monster's chest as the battle reaches its peak. He grins, calling the beast nothing more than a mere dog while pressing forward. From the shadows of the forest, two more hellhounds suddenly lunge toward him. He thrusts his spear forward, initiating the fifth step of his technique. The warrior leaps high, delivering a powerful strike to his beastly foe. He grips the shaft firmly, preparing for the next sequence of attacks. With a confident smirk, he watches the monster dissolve into shadows. A malevolent eye glows brightly within the darkness of the forest. The creature moves with blinding speed, becoming a blur of red energy. He tracks the beast's movement, realization dawning behind his focused gaze. Confidence radiates from his smile as he offers a deadly lesson. The massive hellhound snarls, its single eye burning with intense hunger. He slides into a defensive stance to find the monster's weak point. A wicked grin spreads across his face as he recognizes the pattern. He unleashes the Calamity Serpent Intent, a technique of immense power. The spectral form of a poisonous dragon manifests through a blinding light, a catastrophic explosion of dark energy levels the surrounding forest terrain. He stands amidst the red debris, having shattered the beast's defense. Glowing particles fall like rain from the night sky over the battlefield. The giant beast lies broken in a crater at his feet. The defeated monster dissolves into a dark, viscous pool on the ground. Resting his spear, he addresses the unseen creator of the monstrosity. He vows to save his opponent's mother from her tragic fate. Mariette Dunalev emerges in her final phase, radiating a terrifying aura. A pillar of dark light strikes the earth with devastating force. Her silhouette falls gracefully across the face of the full moon. The hero walks forward, his face hidden in the deep shadows. Mariette lunges from above, her fangs bared in a bloodthirsty frenzy. Korin realizes that no one can help him in this moment. Mariette begins recovering her mana and stamina by drinking his blood. Korin feels the terrifying sensation of his life force being stolen. He clenches his fist, determined to endure the vampire's intense thirst. His persistent warrior's regeneration skill activates to sustain his broken body. He struggles to keep his consciousness as his life force fades. Then he remembers a kind girl sharing potatoes with her small hands. Korin gently strokes Mariette's hair with the hands of an adult. He embraces the girl and tells her to take her time. Mariette's predatory hunger clashes with her sudden realization of his kindness. Her red eyes widen as she stops the frenzied bloodletting. Historically, even the greatest commanders could not resist the blood urge. Mariette suffered for months, drinking monster blood to avoid killing humans. She endured her internal thirst through sheer superhuman willpower and pain. Korin rejects the game's cruel setup for this tragic final boss. He believes that a different, happier ending must truly exist. Mariette breaks down in tears, apologizing repeatedly for her horrific nature. Korin admits he once saw her as merely a game character. He recalls his master's duty to protect those who are younger. He chooses to fulfill his duty as an adult and a disciple. He vows to walk a different path than his rival, Sihu. The system confirms the S rank clear and provides massive rewards. A space prison created by Professor Josephine now holds the girl. Mariette happily eats a potato, her deadly thirst finally satiated. Korin greets Mariette through the bars of her new prison home. Korin asks the professor for permission to enter Mariette's isolation cell. Inside, Mariette stuffs her face with potatoes while Korin warns her not to choke. Korin quietly watches as she continues devouring the simple meal given to her. Mariette cheerfully explains that potatoes are both delicious and surprisingly hearty food. Korin suddenly leans closer, causing Mariette to freeze and blush instantly. Flustered, Mariette comically beats Korin for approaching before she had washed herself. Embarrassed by her messy appearance, she quickly turns her back toward him. She quietly admits that the fight against Warren left her genuinely terrified. Mariette confesses that she truly feared for her life during the encounter. Korin reflects on how Warren's choices eventually pushed everything toward this confrontation. A flashback reveals Warren's overwhelming strength, forcing Mariette to transform. Mariette recalls being deeply impressed by Korin's refusal to ever give up. Korin modestly brushes off his actions as nothing particularly special. Mariette explains how much she loves simple stories with happy endings. She describes a world where kind people are always rewarded for their goodness. Korin looks at her warmly before calling her a good and beautiful person. Mariette's face immediately turns bright red after hearing his sincere words. She suddenly remembers her old self carrying a basket as a kind student. Completely flustered, Mariette urges Korin to leave so she can finish eating peacefully. Korin simply waves goodbye before stepping into the softly glowing hallway. Left alone once again, Mariette smiles while thanking Korin for visiting her. Sitting in silence, she quietly questions whether she truly deserves happiness. Meanwhile, Korin walks through the halls while thinking about Mariette's isolation. He notes that Warren's successful school life already created a helpful precedent. Because of that, Korin remains confident others will eventually accept Mariette's nature. Suddenly, Korin turns around after hearing someone call out to him. The academy chairman slowly approaches Korin and asks for a moment of his time. The two formally meet to discuss the recent incident involving Mariette. Korin instantly recoils in shock after hearing about Mariette's possible punishment. Panic quickly spreads across his face because he never expected disciplinary action. Korin hurriedly offers to explain everything that happened during the battle. He desperately begs the chairman to hear his first-hand account first. Korin loudly insists that Mariette is not the monster everyone believes she is. The chairman simply smiles kindly before stating there will be no punishment at all. Korin stands frozen in disbelief after hearing the unexpected response. The chairman then reveals that he was merely testing Korin's loyalty toward his friend. He reassures Korin that Mariette's isolation will end very soon. Hearing that, Korin finally lets out a deep sigh of relief. He decides to share only the most necessary details regarding the encounter. Meanwhile, the chairman quietly considers how to announce Mariette's situation officially. Korin listens carefully as the chairman discusses their next course of action. To his complete surprise, the chairman suddenly bows deeply to thank him. A nearby teacher also apologizes for the failures of the adults involved. Korin realizes that Eryu Kasar truly deserves the title he carries. He remembers the heavy burdens this man carried in previous timelines. Thinking back on their history together, Korin chooses to trust the chairman's goodwill. The chairman keeps his respectful posture as Korin finally accepts his gratitude. Elsewhere, Mariette sits alone in her room while drowning in guilt. Korin recalls embracing her after she regained her human rationality. Mariette continued crying and apologizing after returning from her beastly form. Overwhelmed by guilt, Mariette wondered if she even deserved to face Isabelle again. She offered no resistance as Madame Josephine's magic sealed her away in isolation. Mariette kept recalling the boy who sincerely visited her despite her beastly nature. She feared herself as a monster who craved human blood. Yet Korin's gentle words slowly erased the worries buried deep inside her heart. The girl quietly wept while remembering how he risked everything just to save her. His selfless devotion left a lasting mark inside the lonely isolation room. Hiding beneath her blankets, Mariette cherished that precious moment of her life. Meanwhile, whispers about the recent monster incident spread throughout the academy. 1 week passed as students continued discussing the top student's mysterious isolation. Despite the chaos from before, Daily life in the cooking classroom resumed once again. Corin looked surprised after hearing that Mariette still remained completely secluded. At last, Mariette walked through the halls as her official isolation finally ended. Her classmates greeted her with warm smiles and sincere encouragement. She looked across the cheerful faces, only to notice Isabel was nowhere to be seen. Mariette quietly returned to her bed, believing Isabel truly hated her now. The memory of biting her friend continued haunting her every waking moment. She convinced herself that leaving the academy was the only way to protect everyone. Beside her sat packs of blood, silently mocking her inner struggle. Suddenly, the sound of someone at the door shattered her dark thoughts. Mariette watched in shock as the door slowly creaked open. Isabel suddenly rushed into the room and tightly embraced Mariette without hesitation. Through tears, Isabel frantically asked if Mariette was finally feeling better now. Mariette stammered in confusion, wondering why Isabel still wanted to see her. She nervously asked if Isabel was no longer afraid of her monstrous side. At that moment, the protagonist realized nobody else could help him anymore. Mariette slowly recovered her stamina by activating her blood-sucking boss skill. He could feel his life force draining away while she held him tightly. Even through the pain, he clenched his fist and endured it all. His regeneration skill activated to keep his broken body from collapsing. Even then, he focused entirely on bringing her back to humanity once more. He remembered the kind little girl who used to share potatoes with others. Gently, he placed a comforting hand on her head like a protective adult. He softly told Mariette to take her time so she would not choke. Tears filled her eyes as she continued drinking his blood. Mariette trembled in fear over the monster she had become. Even the legendary Sabancia Duke eventually succumbed to a vampire's bloodlust. Yet Mariette survived for an entire month by feeding only on monster blood. Her incredible willpower stopped her from ever killing an innocent person. He stared up at the stars while believing a better ending still existed. Sweat slowly dripped down his neck as he continued speaking to his junior. Her identity as a vampire did not change his desire to save her. The teachings of his master continued fueling his determination in this world. His master once taught him that adults must always protect the young. Lying on the ground, he resolved himself to become her true guardian. He silently vowed to Park Sihu that he would walk a different path. Soon after, the system rewarded him for surviving the S-rank encounter with Mariette. Mariette was later transferred safely into Professor Josephine's enchanted space prison. There, she smiled brightly while eating a warm potato once again. The protagonist later visited her cell to greet her with a friendly good morning. Corin and the vampire girl casually compare the taste of different kinds of meat. She shyly suggests that drinking her blood once in a while should be perfectly fine. The girl instantly screams in embarrassment after hearing his shocking reply. Corin calmly offers his blood instead, claiming his body regenerates quickly anyway. Panicking, she immediately refuses before handing him a bottle of vampire blood. Corin drinks the special magical ingredient straight from the glass bottle. A system message suddenly confirms that he consumed a second-rank life elixir. His aura rank immediately rises while his maximum aura increases dramatically. Corin feels a powerful surge of energy spreading throughout his entire body. He smiles confidently while planning to begin the next scenario very soon. Elsewhere, someone walks through the crowded town square with determined steps. Alicia Arden is a talented second-rank knight born from a prestigious family. In the past, she recognized her own limits and swore to improve herself further. Despite that talent, Alicia currently seems far more interested in sweeter things. She happily snacks on candy while completely ignoring her harsh training routine. Alicia would rather shop for pretty clothes than practice her gifted swordsmanship. She enjoys every moment away from the brutal duels against her siblings. Nearby, Corin watches Alicia excitedly spinning around with several beautiful dresses. He suddenly asks why she has been avoiding the training room lately. Corin then offers her a place in his party to earn some money. Alicia nearly cries because Corin has become difficult for her to deal with lately. She feels like all her lazy habits become exposed whenever he is around. He constantly lectures her about the importance of mastering the basics first. The promise of 2 gold coins instantly changes Alicia's hesitant attitude. Alicia enthusiastically agrees to join Corin's party for the next mission. Corin proposes a short-term mission with surprisingly high rewards to begin the day. He quietly notes how Alicia's motivation is completely driven by money. Corin confidently expects his predictions for today to become reality. Meanwhile, Alicia prefers simple patrol missions that follow the city routes. Most monsters around the city are low rank and easily defeated by her. The work also pays well without being overly exhausting or troublesome. Local guards cheer loudly after Alicia effortlessly wipes out a monster group. She proudly beams while listening to praise about her family's swordsmanship. In reality, however, her family constantly compares her to her genius sister. Even so, Alicia ignores the insults about her bloodline and stays cheerful. Corin quietly watches as she continues enjoying the peaceful workday. As night slowly falls, the group believes the patrol ended safely without issues. Suddenly, A green signal flare lights up the dark forest sky. The guards explain that the magical firework signals a dangerous second-rank nest nearby. Alicia sheds a tear after realizing she still cannot return home yet. Corin smirks while watching the guards depend on Alicia's prestigious reputation. Moments later, a vicious pack of wolves emerges alongside a powerful werewolf leader. This was an enemy Alicia had defeated countless times in the past. Suddenly, a spectral knight riding a flaming horse enters the battlefield. Alicia stares in disbelief at the terrifying enemy she never expected to see. The first-rank monster Dullahan charges forward atop its ghostly steed. Frustrated by the sudden escalation, Alicia prepares herself for battle. She focuses intensely while reaching for the hilt of her weapon. Without hesitation, Alicia unleashes a powerful Arden-style technique against the Dullahan. Her eyes sharpen with intensity as the desperate clash finally begins. The flexible monster moves with the unsettling agility of a giant mollusk. Alicia gasps in shock as the creature suddenly wraps around her tightly. She quickly realizes this first-ranked monster is far more experienced than expected. Throwing away her warrior pride, Alicia desperately cries out for Corin's help. Her panic only grows after realizing Corin is still fighting elsewhere. Alicia grits her teeth in terror as the enemy slowly approaches her. Tears begin filling her eyes as she quietly prepares for the worst. Suddenly, a brilliant blade flashes through the air and shatters the monster's skull instantly. The girl collapses onto the ground as the creature is completely destroyed. She looks up to thank her savior, only to freeze in sudden recognition. A cold and legendary gaze quietly looks down at her from the battlefield above. Lunia Arden, the greatest swordsman of their generation, has finally arrived. Alicia stares in disbelief at the appearance of her overwhelming older sister.